Welcome to Lecture 16, Grand Conspiracy Thinking. We look at grand conspiracy thinking. Conspiracy theorists typically put the world into three different categories. There are the conspirators. They're the large, powerful groups. They have very long-term plans. Typically, their long-term plans include to take over the world. And yet, no matter how smart and powerful they are, they make really simple mistakes. Simple mistakes that allow us to catch them a little bit, to actually know that they're there. The second group is the conspiracy theorists themselves. And those are the ones who are in the know. They recognize the patterns. They've figured out the plans. And then there are the rest of us, who are just the naive dupes, the rest of the population who don't believe there's actually a grand conspiracy theory. One of the most common ones is the conspiracy theory of the Illuminati. The Illuminati is this shadow world government. They're the New World Order. They reveal themselves in symbolism. And typically the symbolism is Freemasonry symbolism. The eye on the dollar bill, the stars here and there. They reveal themselves to these symbolisms. Well, conspiracy thinking gives us something. Conspiracy thinking gives us the illusion of control. Even so we can get out of this feeling of lack of control, we really hate to feel that we're not in control. Conspiracy thinking comes about a lot because we really have a lack of detailed information about how governments actually work, how the structure of the financial system actually does work. And then we fill in these blanks with speculation, with guesses. And these guesses create these conspiracy theories that gives us this illusion that we know what's going on. Gives us this illusion of certainty. It allows us to overcome this feeling of powerlessness. When I talked earlier about pareidolia, I talked specifically about visual pareidolia and auditory pareidolia. That's being able to see patterns in this random noise. But pattern recognition goes beyond just visual and auditory pareidolia. We also have this cognitive pareidolia, where we're able to see that patterns being imposed on events. So certain events occur and we impose these patterns upon them. This is cognitive pareidolia. This is the invisible hand that moves things around. And this is where conspiracy theory comes in. Why did this happen and this happen and this happen and this not happen? Well, it's because of this conspiracy. And they see the patterns behind this. Conspiracy theorists consider themselves the privileged, enlightened few. It gives them a place to channel their anger, and it increases their self-esteem that I am part of this privileged, enlightened few. It's the struggle between reality testing and our pattern recognition, because we do see these patterns, but is it real or not? And conspiracy theorists really heavily rely on confirmation bias, where they see the evidence out there that proves their theory correct. But they totally and absolutely ignore all of the evidence that says their theory is not correct. This is confirmation bias. And we throw in here the fundamental attribution error, where I credit my behavior for external circumstances, and I give credit to somebody else's behavior because of their personality. My example has always been, you trip over a sidewalk, you blame the sidewalk. You see somebody else tripping over a sidewalk, you call them a klutz. This fundamental attribution error that somebody else is successful because of their personality, but I'm not successful because people are holding me back. We have the fundamental attribution error. Their personality is why they did it. The external circumstances is why I couldn't do it. We have a fundamental attribution error. Conspiracy theories have this very, very closed belief system that all evidence that can prove their theory incorrect gets explained away. They get immune to somebody trying to refute their theory. It's just absolutely closed. They will not accept any other theories. And one of the ways they can do this is because so many conspiracy theories have somebody like the Men in Black. The Men in Black are specifically around the conspiracy theories around the UFOs. But the Illuminati have their own Men in Black. All these other conspiracy theories. And the Men in Black's job is to go around and cover up evidence, to, take people away who could possibly show this theory to the light of day. And almost every conspiracy theory has some sort of Men in Black. That's their job, is to cover up the evidence. And that's why we can't find evidence that says that this theory is absolutely true, because there's the Men in Black out there covering them up. Conspiracy theorists, just like in pseudoscience, they push the burden of proof. They push the burden of proof onto everybody else to try and prove their theory wrong. And if you cannot prove their theory wrong, then their theory has to be correct. But that's not the way it goes. If you have a theory saying that this conspiracy is out there, then it's up to you to prove that this conspiracy is out there. It's not up to me to prove that this conspiracy is not out there. So we get this burden of proof, and the critical thinking skills should click in. Okay, why won't you prove this? What evidence do you have? What contradicting evidence do you have? Let's see our evidence. But conspiracy theories don't do this. They shift that burden of proof to anyone who doesn't accept their theory. When we do come up with evidence, they have a tendency to move the goalpost. Move the goalpost. Yes, you got me that evidence, but now I want you to give me something else, and now I want you to give me something else, and now I want you to give me something else, and now I want you to give me something else. And they just keep moving that goalpost so that it doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to be able to prove their theory wrong, because they just keep moving the requirements that it's going to take to prove their theory wrong. They do a lot of anomaly hunting. Well, look at this as a decline. Why did it Well, in large numbers, events occur. Coincidences happen. Things that don't fit on normal. As for our human beings, and you look at human being behavior, human behavior is erratic. Humans don't behave in a magical manner. And so there are anomalies out there. The whole problem is the state of affairs. So if I can't explain this anomaly with your state of affairs, then of course my explanation has to be correct. That's not going to cross the time. That's not it. Well, cross the time world, either my theory is correct, or your theory is correct, and I can't explain it to your theory, but my theory must be correct. The standard explanation is perfect everything. A very good example of this is the Roswell crash in 1947. So many people believe that this alien spacecraft crashed near the city of Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. And what the U.S. government knows about it, and are intentionally covering up details. And their theory is, well, if the government is covering it up, it must be a UFO. It must be there. If their theory is a UFO, the government's covering up just the aspect of their cover-up, but that theory must be correct. And the government at the time put out stories about it being a weather balloon, and they stuck to that story about it being a weather balloon. And the story was obviously a cover-up. And it's true, the government was covering up something in Roswell 1945. They were. But what they were covering up was a secret experiment. They were spying on illegal activity in the Soviet Union. And that spycraft actually happened to crash outside of Roswell, New Mexico. And they were grateful that they were being exposed. They were actually grateful for it, because now their cover-up was complete. Nobody even thought of a spy plane. Nobody even thought of that this wasn't a weather balloon. It was actually a spy ship. It was a spy craft. That thought didn't cross everybody's mind, because everybody was thinking it was a UFO. And that the government was doing something to hide this actually confirmed it. conspiracy thinking get into this a lot simply because somebody is cover-up. That's proof that my theory has to be right. And then conspiracy thinkers tend to widen and widen and widen the conspiracy. It comes in this cognitive trap. If this has to be true, then this has to be true, and then this has to be true, and this has to be true. And so the conspiracy is a worldwide conspiracy. A conspiracy of every scientist, of every researcher, of every medical institution, all across the globe is into this. You can simply ask yourself a simple question is, how come the mainstream media hasn't picked up on this? Mainstream media with good investigative reporters, with lots and lots of resources and good financial resources, how come they haven't picked up on this? How come it's this one lone conspiracy theory person that's bringing out this conspiracy? And there are pros and cons to conspiracy theories, or conspiracy theorists anyway. One of the pros is that conspiracy theorists happen to challenge the status quo. They challenge the powers that be. It's because of a lot of these conspiracy theories that the government needs to maintain transparency. They frequently will use the Freedom of Information Act in order to get information from the government. So conspiracy theories actually do serve a purpose. They help with the transparency of our government. But they also serve a con. They have bad features. One of them is that conspiracy theories have a tendency to erode our confidence in our government. We have all these negative theories about the government, and so they erode the confidence of our government. There's reasonable attempts about keeping the government accountable, and if there's so many conspiracy theories out there, the reasonable attempts are lumped in with these really off-the-wall attempts, and the reasonable attempts are seen as fringe. I'm not going to pay attention to you because you're too close to that conspiracy theorist. And there's even a conspiracy theory of conspiracy theories saying that the government is responsible for most of these conspiracy theories because the government wants to not account for what people really want. And so they're going to start creating conspiracy theories and put them out there, and everybody will be focused on inaccurate false conspiracy theories, and we're going to not focus on the ones that are actually true. So we have a conspiracy theory of conspiracy theories. One thing to be aware of is that frequently conspiracy theories are actually ethnic based. But when a conspiracy theory target ethnic races, ethnic disrespectful groups, build out a poor perception or increased stereotype of that ethnic group because of these groups. And next lecture, we'll be talking about reality.